Hello, hi, and good morning, everyone. I hope that everyone has enjoyed the weekend well and good. I did. Anyway, so as we spoke in the previous video, today we would be talking a little deeper, I guess. This might be the seventh video. So, whatever it is, in this video, we would be talking about conscious, unconscious, and subconscious mind. Please don't mind for my throat. I'm not well from few days, and the weather is not really good. So I'm a little under the weather. Okay. So in this video, we would be specifically trying to understand what is conscious, unconscious, and subconscious mind. We'll try to know it by the textbook definition itself. Then we will try to understand the characteristics of it. We will try to understand the impact on the behavior due to uh, our mind, which are these three layers. We'll also try to understand the depth and influence of each layer on our behavior. Then we'll also get to know about the contribution of psychologists and the scientist on the specific three layers of the mind. And further on, we will move to some scientific examples. Then we'll also understand how to harness the power of these three layers. We'll end it by understanding the scientific papers and studies, or at least acknowledging them. And then we'll close the whole video by providing a statement, I guess. So I do have some work here and there, but I'll try as much as I can try to connect with you guys. So without any further ado, I would jump on it. So I have made some pointers here and there. So I would be like referring through it, and I would be connected with you. So let's jump into it. Let's imagine your mind as a vast infinite universe. Some parts are brightly lit, while some are dimly illuminated, and rest of others are shrouded in darkness, mysterious, and they are untouched. Today we explore these three realms of the universe, which is your internal universe, your mind, the conscious, the unconscious, and the subconscious mind. Understanding these layers is having a key to a treasure chest. Each holds an extraordinary power to shape who you are and who you become. So, we'll first start with the definition itself. What is conscious mind? The conscious mind is a part of your brain that's awake. It's kind of alert and engaged with the present moment. It's where your thoughts are active. You make active decisions. You have an active perception that resides. For an simpler way, right now as you are listening to me, your conscious mind is absorbing my words, deciding what resonates, and forming questions you might want to ask me later. Now, but the conscious mind, as powerful as it feels, is very limited. It processes only what's in front of it. What you actively think, or what are you actively thinking, or what are you trying to pursue. For everything else, you must take a deeper look. Now, now we have spoke about conscious mind. We will talk about subconscious mind. So, the subconscious mind is, I guess, the realm of stored memories, certain habits, automatic responses. It's not in your immediate awareness, but it influences your behavior every moment of your everyday life. For an example, think about how instinctively you reach to your phone when you hear a notification, or how you tie your shoes without thinking. your subconscious mind at work. It's a part of you that, I guess, it runs on autopilot. It is a habit that has so used to your body or used to your mind that it just happens automatically without any triggers. So the triggers might not be vaguely available or presently available, but the minor triggers that sense you that sensation does the work automatically. And here's the most exciting part, I guess. The subconscious mind is kind of programmable through repetitions, visualization, and positive reinforcement. You can shape it to align with your dreams and goals. Sorry, I really have some bad cold here. Now we have spoke about what is conscious mind, we have spoke about what is subconscious mind. We will try to know more about unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind is the repository of instincts, suppressed emotions, the primal drives. It's the place where your deepest fear, your dreams, your unprocessed memories reside. They live there. For example, if I have to give a small example, there might be certain situations, there might be certain actions that just happens. Have you like ever strongly reacted to a situation, and after that you have wondered why did I reacted with that speed or with that reflex? Often the unconscious mind is surfing some past experiences or emotions you may not even remember, but it is still there. So this realm operates beyond your control, yet it shapes your beliefs, your biases, the behaviors in a very profound way. As Carl Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So this was the whole understanding of the depth or the definition. Now we will move towards the characteristics of each of the layers. So now, somewhat I think the conscious mind is kind of a spotlight of awareness. So the characteristics would be very obvious, I guess. So what are the key characteristics? I would just give you three basic key characteristics. First is your awareness. I think the conscious mind operates in the present moment. It's the part of you that's aware. Okay, it is aware of your words, it is aware of your surrounding, it is aware of the temperature in the room. So basically it's a part of you that is aware of your words, your surrounding, and your temperature. Then you have logic and reasoning. So understanding this, that conscious mind being in the present always tries to grab things around itself in a very active and present moment. So your brain is always triggered to ask questions, so it tries to search logic as well as reasoning. Logic and reasoning, this is very critical. This is where the critical thinking happens, I guess. It's the analytical powerhouse that asks, does this make sense, or is this have a meaning, or is there a profound significance that if I am listening to this, does it has any impact? Okay, now here's the important characteristics of conscious mind, which is that conscious mind has limited capacity. Now why? The conscious mind can only focus on few things at an instant. Ever like let ever try to read a book while listening, or to listening to someone who is talking to you? You can barely, because either you can fixate yourself on a book, or either you can focus on that person. You can't do two things at an instant. Somewhere or the other, let's say you're reading and someone is trying to say something to you. Your parent or your sibling or your lover is trying to tell something to you. You might jumble between these two things. You would read, or else you can read, listen to them. You can listen to them or you can read, but you can't do both things at an instant. So it's tough because the conscious mind is really overwhelmed. Now, example, picture yourself at a party, engage in a conversation. Your conscious mind filters out the background noise so you can focus on the person in front of you. But that's only one layer, okay? So, I have given you the characteristics of conscious mind. Now, I'll tell you about more about the characteristics of subconscious mind. So, try to understand subconscious mind is kind of an architect. Now, why? I'll tell you. So there are some reasonable characteristics. I in this video I'll just say almost like three or four. So first is memory storage. Now every experience that you have ever had is stored in here, from your childhood joys to the lessons you have learned. Every single thing, your first love, your first paycheck, your date of joining, your first achievement, you name it. It's good, it's bad, everything is stored here. Your subconscious keeps a record. Then your second characteristic is automatic habits. Think about brushing your teeth and driving home on autopilot. Those are the subconscious program at work. So there are a lot of automatic habits that you might be doing without knowing it. So let's say someone has a habit. Why someone? I'll just give you a basic example. You don't need to think. You never need to think to you don't ponder, like when you are tying your shoelace or where you are tucking your shirt in. You don't think how to do it or why to do it. Okay, even like basic habits like brushing your teeth, combing your hair, you don't need a lot of things to think about. Even for driving a vehicle, once you are good to go, you had done your practice enough, your hands are set. It's all about awareness, which is your conscious mind. Meanwhile, how to drive is something your subconscious mind does. Third is your emotional drive or emotion driven characteristic. Now, try to understand when your mind has stored a lot of insights from your childhood till the present date. It has created certain kind of experiences, it has created certain kind of beliefs, biases. Now, when I'm saying emotion driven or emotionally drive characteristics, it's where your belief, your fear, your values live. Ever have you ever felt an unexplainable gut reaction? So when you are feeling this, it's because some kind of activity has already occurred in your lifetime, which has been registered in your mind, and that's your subconscious sending you a message or sending you a call that calm, hold your horses for a second, think about it and do it. The fourth, I would say that the the fourth characteristics might be impressionable. Like the subconscious is shaped by repetition and strong emotions, whether it's positive or negative. That's why when you have a record of activities, a record of experiences, the way you try to trigger your emotions, the way you try to seek those emotions within yourself are kind of the thing you attract. It's the kind of thing you are subconsciously going through it. We always talk about affirmations and visualizations are powerful, but why they are powerful? Because somewhere when we are affirming something or when we are trying to visualize something, we keep our subconscious activities, our subconscious experiences in our mind, and based on those we are trying to impressible them. So this is all about sub. I'm really sorry. This is all about subconscious mind. Okay. So there is this one example, a small example I would give. A young musician practice daily. Over time, playing becomes a second nature. The subconscious mind has memorized every note, freeing the conscious mind to focus on the expression and creativity. Now, try to understand this example where the young musician is playing some kind of instrument. Let's say he's playing a violin. So, playing the violin is a subconscious act. Why? Because he is practicing notes, he is practicing chords, he is practicing his knowledge. Okay, but what is the interplay in here? That depending on the audience or depending on the stage or the mood of the musician, he's trying to play that notes, which is a conscious act. The subconscious act is that he knows all the notes, he knows how to play the instrument, but the conscious act is based on the mood, based on the audience, based on the preference that the audience is setting, with a conscious alertness, with the awareness, he's trying to play that. So this is the interplay between the layers, between the realms. Now we don't have to stretch along, so we'll just talk about the characteristics of unconscious mind. So as said, this also have 3 or 4 points. The first is the primal instinct. So the unconscious houses the unconscious mind houses your deepest instinct for survival. It might be fight or flight or freeze, I guess, because try to understand, it is a layer, it is that definite layer that you are not aware of. It is where you where all your hidden emotions are there, suppressed emotions are there. So when we are talking about the primal instinct, in usual cases this happens because there the emotions are very unfiltered, they are very raw, and when certain actions happen or certain consequences happen, you get triggered and you come in the deepest instinct of survival, which is either fight or flight or freeze, and it all depends on your subconscious mind. Now understand, all these three realms, your conscious, your subconscious, and your unconscious mind, are interconnected to each other. They have an interplay between their own self. With each and every consequence or each and every actions or each and every situation, either of these three or two or three together itself plays the act. There is no balance. There is never a balance between all these three. Some might work, some might not, but there is a definition or there is a definite approximation that one of either of them will work. Now we have spoke about the primal instinct, we will talk about the unprocessed memories. So when I said this is a layer which is hidden, so traumatic and deeply buried experiences often resides in here, influencing you in a way you may not even realize. Okay, I think the third characteristics is symbolic language. The unconscious mind usually is very inactive, so it usually speaks in the dreams. It speaks in kind of symbols in your dreams, often revealing the truths that your conscious mind cannot see. Now this is a completely different topic, we will discuss someday later. Okay, now the fourth characteristics, which is powerful influence. Now As I said, it's a hidden layer. It works in the back doors of your mind, so it shapes your behavior. Now when I'm saying it shapes your behavior, it comes from the experiences that you get in your subconscious. It gets the reality check from the conscious, and based on those two, the record that it already has in the subconscious, it creates and shapes your behavior. It shapes your desires and even your reaction without your awareness. Now, a small example. There might be some dreams that have stayed with you all day long. That's your unconscious mind processing emotions, experiences, and unresolved conflicts. Why? It's always working even when you are asleep. So there is this quote by Carl Jung that the unconscious is not fully evil by nature. It is also the source of the highest good. Okay. Now, when we have spoke about this, we will just go on the impact impact on the behavior and the depth and influence of conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. So first, we will talk about the impact of conscious mind, which is that it make rational choices. Ha- it 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 uses focus and attention, and it has a short term influence. Okay, then please, I am really sorry for my throat. So we will अरे यार. Now when we have spoke about the impact of behavior, we will also talk about the depth and influence of conscious mind. So the depth of influence is it it is where reasoning, logic, and deliberate choices resides. You set goals, you solve problems, you analyze situations, not later, not in the future, but in the real time itself. This is the depth of influence of conscious mind. It's also where we experience awareness. That's you, or the you that knows you are sitting here, you are listening, you are thinking, you are trying to figure me out, is what the depth of influence that conscious mind has on you. But it also has a limit, I guess, that the capacity is very limited, the span or the attention span is very limited. It's like a small desk in a giant library. It can only process few things at a time, leaving a heavy lifting to deeper layers of mind. Okay, let's say the conscious is just like a 10%, subconscious and the unconscious is 90%. This is why the willpower alone often fails to drive long term changes. The conscious mind can set the intention, but deeper layers determine the follow through, I guess. So I think we just spoke about the conscious mind. Now we will go on to the subconscious mind. What are the impacts? So ha- the impacts are like habit formation. Then you have emotional triggers and behavioral patterns. So the action that you repeat becomes second nature, from brushing your teeth to how to respond to stress, and your subconscious is in charge of that, which is your habit formation. Your past experiences shapes your emotional reaction. So that's why a smell, a song, or a phrase can instantly transport you to that memory. These are emotional triggers, and the subconscious stores your beliefs about yourself, about the world, about your surrounding. If you have been told you are bad at math, you might avoid numbers altogether, even without realizing it. Okay, so this are the impact of subconscious mind on your behavior. Then I would go on the depths. So as I said, it stores memory, it stores your belief, it stores your habit and emotional responses. Think of it as an operating system running in the background, keeping your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your habits flowing. Now this is where repeated thoughts and actions, whether it's positive or negative, becomes ingrained. So now I have just spoke about conscious and subconscious. We will go to the unconscious mind, the impact of unconscious mind. So, instantaneous reaction like fight, flight, or freeze responses are driven by the primal instincts, which are buried deep down in our unconscious. Then, trauma or suppressed memories can manifest anxiety. It can manifest fear or unexpected reaction, and this is because of unresolved conflicts that you already had with yourself in your past experiences. This is what impacts the behavior of unconscious mind. Your unconscious influence the behavior through dreams. It slips off your tongue or your gut feeling. And this is a kind of symbolic communication which only happens in your unconscious mind. And to be very honest, some from my point of perspective, the unconscious mind is way more dangerous. It's way more mysterious than we often know. We often understand about it. So, when we have spoke about the impact on the behavior of unconscious mind, we will also talk about the depths and influence, I guess. So, it governs your instinct, your primal drives, your deeply buried memories. It's the seat. It's the front seat of your unresolved conflicts, your fears, your traumas, and yet it also holds the key to your creativity, your intuition, your raw potential. Now, dream often serves as a window to into the unconscious. Freud called them as a royal road to the unconscious, revealing what's hidden in a plain sight. So, as now we have spoke about the impact and the behavior, now we will just further move on towards I think the contribution of scientists and psychologists on it. So, with every great breakthrough in human understanding has built on the shoulder of those who have dared to ask profound and right questions at the right time. Today, like we'll just explore these minds and how did they came on this such certain kind of conclusions. So first, I think we should really respect and have that courtesy to go with him, which is Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund Freud didn't just explore the mind; he revolutionized how to perceive it. Freud introduced the idea of unconscious mind, a reservoir of depressed or repressed desires, fears, and emotion, memories influencing your behavior without you realizing it. His model of the psyche, the id, the go, the ego, and the superego mapped the mind into warring forces of primal instincts, irrational control, which is your ego, and the moral conscious, which is your superego. Freud's groundbreaking work in dream analysis suggested that the dream were the royal road to the unconscious, revealing the hidden truths through symbols. Now, impact of Freud's study or Freud's practice. Even today, the concept like defense mechanism, like repression, denial, projection, are rooted in Freud's work. He taught us that the mind isn't always logical, but it is also powerful. So, there is this one quote by Freud, which I'll tell you. Like unexpressed emotions will never die. Will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in the uglier way. Now we have Carl Jung. Okay, so even Carl Jung was one of the greatest. So Carl Jung was a protege of Freud, who turned to be a rebel. He expanded our understanding of unconscious mind in profound ways. His contributions were Jung introduced to the concept of collective unconsciousness or collective unconscious, a shared pool of human experiences and archetypes that transcends individual memories. His work on archetypes, the universal symbols like the hero, the shadow, and the caregiver, helped explain recurring patterns in the myths, dreams, and stories came across the culture. Jung believed that subconscious wasn't a place of hidden fears but also a source of immense creativity and wisdom. Now, Carl Jung's impact was for modern psychology to storytelling in movies like Star Wars and The Lion King. Jung's ideas have shaped how we understand the universal human experience. So there was a powerful statement given by Jung. Until you make a decision unconsciously conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it as a fate. The third person is, I think, Ivan Pavlo. So I think I'll just like his work, groundwork for behaviorism was outstanding. I really guess he understood how the conditioned reflexes laid the groundwork of behaviorism. Pavlov discovered that classical conditioning, where neutral stimulus or neutral stimuli like a bell could be paired with an automatic response like salivating through repeated association. This finding demonstrated how subconscious association shapes behavior, sometimes as simple as a jingle can evoke the emotions or memories. So, from marketing to therapy, Pavlov's work explains us understanding how habits form and how they can be changed. The subconscious mind, it seems, it's trainable. For the best example of Evan Pavlos is if you have watched Marvel movies. So there is this one character called the Winter Soldier. So Winter Soldier is somewhat trained for this so-called behaviorism. The change in the action, the change of his behavior, the change of the whole insignia of this Winter Soldier changes when he is triggered with some trigger words. It's kind of he becomes a different person. This is how the psychology of behaviorism changes in the patterns. So then we further move on to William James. So William James is the father of American psychology, and he took a different approach. He focused on the conscious mind as dynamic, ever-changing flow, and his contributions are like not big, but yeah, certainly big enough to influence the whole psychology. So James coined the term the stream of consciousness, described the mind as a continuous flowing process rather than static entity. He explored how attention, how choice, how habit shapes your conscious experience. The impact was that James bridged psychology and philosophy, showing us that our conscious thoughts don't just react to the world, they are actively shaping it. There's a quote by James: the greatest weapons against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Now, it might not make sense because it tends to have a deeper meaning. Psychology has a lot of simpler things, but it tends to have a deeper meaning. So, there are some modern contributors to neurosciences and the mind depths. Researchers like Benjamin Levitt explored the relationship between the brain activity and the conscious decision making, suggesting our subconscious often acts before our conscious mind catch-ups. Then the functional MRI scan allow us how brain activities in acts in real time, revealing the physical correlations between our thoughts, our emotions, and our unconscious impulses or your implementations. Like then we have something called epigenetics and the subconscious. Now this kinds of study shows how experiences like stress or nurturing can influence gene expression or bridging the gap between biology and psychology. Now I think we would be talking about harnessing the power of conscious, subconscious, and the video is getting way too stretched. But I think we would directly jump on a scientific example, harnessing the power of conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. We will speak on some other video. We will stick with the very basic and very detail oriented thing. So The topic of harnessing the power we'll speak in some other video. We'll directly jump on the scientific examples. Okay, so here are the few scientific examples which we'll talk. The first scientific example for the conscious mind is that the Stroop test. So this is a classic example which demonstrates the conscious mind in action. So let's say there are few participants and they are being shown a color, a paper where it's written red, but the ink used to write that red is in a different color. Let's say it's in blue or green. Their task is to name the ink color, not the word. Result, the conscious mind struggles to override the automatic reading, showcasing its focus is very limited and the span of focus is also very limited. What is the takeaway of this experiment? That the conscious mind is powerful, but it is overwhelmed by the conflicting inputs required to practice and to own the focus and self control. Then we have subconscious mind. The best example for it is priming experiment. Okay, so in one study, participants were subtly exposed to words associated with old age, like retired or wrinkle. Afterwards, they unknowingly walked slower in the hallway than those who were not told about this word or were not told about this experiment. What was the insight? The subconscious mind absorbs environmental cues and influences behavior, often without conscious awareness. So, what might be the takeaway? This is why cultivating positive environments and habits are critical. The unconscious mind doesn't judge, it simply acts. It absorbs the information as fast as it can. Then we have unconscious mind. So, first is the Freudian slip. Have you ever accidentally called someone by the wrong name? Perhaps you called your girlfriend with your ex's name. So Freud called this as a window into unconscious, where hidden thoughts leak out. While Freud theory were debatable, neurosciences supports the idea of implicit biases and unconscious processes influencing decision. Now there is something called dream analysis. So dream analysis is used in the modern neurosciences during the REM sleep, which then during the REM sleep, the brain scans shows that heightened activities in your emotions are reduced activities in your prefrontal cortex. So what are the implication of dream analysis? That dream reflects unconscious desires and fears, offering insights into unresolved emotions. And there might be some takeaways also, that the unconscious mind holds the treasure challenges, influencing the creativity, relationship, and the problem solving abilities. So now there is this certain interplay between these three minds. Okay, there is this one case study called on PTSD. Okay, post traumatic stress disorder. A traumatic event may be consciously remembered, but the subconscious and the unconscious stores emotional and sensory triggers. The scientific findings of PTSD is that exposure therapies help by gradually desensitizing the subconscious while consciously reframing the techniques to rebuild the trust in a safely manner. Then there there is also a takeaway from this, that mastering this interplay can lead you to the breakthroughs in the health, in the performance, in the well-being. But if not handled in a proper condition and if not handled with the proper control, it might get worse even without the knowledge. So now when we have talked about all this, I think we should finally cover this end this topic. Before that, I would certainly like to acknowledge few papers on it. So there are few scientific papers for the conscious mind. I would suggest you to read the Bars Beji 1988, the cognitive theory of consciousness, where Barr's global workplace theory suggests that the conscious mind isn't a workplace where information from all parts of the brain is broadcast and made available for decision making. This research illustrates that conscious thoughts are limited and only a small fraction of cognitive activity occurs in your unconscious awareness or the conscious awareness. So there is one more key study, the Levitt experiment, which was done in 1983. You should go and study that also. Then we have, for the subconscious mind, we have the brain, the story of you, given by Eagleman D in 2009, where Eagleman works explore how much of our behavior is influenced by our subconscious processes. Okay. Then there is one more key study, which is the implicit association test, IAT, which was done in 1988. It was developed by Greenwald and Banerjee. That this test reveals that how subconscious biases and association influence our thoughts and our actions without our awareness. So, what are the takeaways? That our subconscious mind is the engine behind one or most of our daily functions. It's powerful, influencing how we act, how we react, how we practice, how we perceive the world, often without us knowing we are doing it. Okay, then I think so. We have a scientific paper on unconscious mind also. So the first scientific paper, I would say, the unconscious, given by Freud, Sigmund Freud itself, in 1915. Freud was a pioneer who theorized that the unconscious desire and the memories could shape our behavior even though we have no conscious access to them. His exploration of expressed trauma laid the foundation of future studies on the mind. So, the key study from this was the split brain experiment in 1960. Researchers like Roger Sperry demonstrated that when the brain's hemispheres are disconnected, the two halves of the mind can function independently. This experiment sheds light on the unconscious mind control over seemingly automatic functions. So, what are the takeaway of this experiment? That the unconscious mind is where the primal instincts resides, the unforgotten memories resides. It's a complex force that often drives behavior in the ways we don't fully understand. So, I guess then I think so. There are few scientific papers like Kemstrom, JF, who wrote this paper on the cognitive unconsciousness in 1987. His the real world example is that thing that how athletes used to visualize the technique to tap into their unconscious mind using the mental imaginary to enhance the performance or the physical performance. So the research done by Dr. Jason Moser in 2011 showed that athletes who visualized themselves performing successful were more likely to succeed. It's where the subconscious mind begins to rehearse the successful outcomes. So takeaway of this experiment was the layers of the mind are intricately connected. The unconscious influences the subconscious habits, and this habit shapes the conscious decisions. Together they form the essence of the behavior. And for the modern scientific methods, I would rather say to refer Raichi Emi, who wrote this paper on the brain at rest in 2001. So this study shows that this study revolutionized our understanding of the brain's default mode network, showing how the brain remains active even when we are not doing anything. So I guess this might be the scientific paper and studies done by some great scientists and philosophers. And to sum it up, as we come to the close of this exploration of the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious mind, I want you to leave with something profound. Okay, each of this layer of this mind, through distinct have their own distinct roles. They are interconnected like threads woven into intricate patterns that somewhat governs our life. The conscious mind, with its ability to reason, to decide, is the surface. It's a tip of iceberg. Beneath it lies the subconscious, holding the habits, the patterns, the learned responses that allows us to function effortlessly. Then the deeper part of the iceberg is, beneath all of this is unconscious, a vast hidden expanse that contains shadows our past, it echoes our trauma, and it's a primal force that often dictates our thoughts and action. Through the work of countless scientists, psychologists, researchers, we have came to understand that the mind is not a singular force, but a very dynamic system, a very complicated system, a very intricate system. It is in constant motion, influencing everything from our behavior, our perception of reality. And as we have seen, this understanding is not only fascinating, but it's very transformative also. So imagine a world where we consciously shape our subconscious habits, where we understand the unconscious forces that drive our deepest fears and desire. A world where mind becomes not just something we experience, but something we actively engage with our actions and with our thoughts. That the world within is within our reach, and it begins with the knowledge, it begins with the experience. The beauty of studying the unconscious or the conscious or subconscious mind is that to empower us to make changes at our levels, at a different levels, from the thought we consciously hold, to the automatic habit that shapes our behavior, to the unconscious forces that influence how we interact with the world. Understanding these layers gives us the tool to unlock our full potential. So I challenge you to take a newfound knowledge into your own life, reflect on these forces shaping your actions, your thoughts, your emotions. Ask yourself, what am I aware of, and what lies beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? How can I begin to reshape the patterns that no longer serve me? And now, when we are about to close, remember this: the mind is vast, complex, and mysterious, but it is also infinitely malleable. Through science, awareness, dictation, and dedication, we can begin to understand, we can ultimately harness the power of our mind in the way we only just begin to imagine. And with this end, I would just thank all of you for joining this video, and I hope this inspires you to continue exploring the extraordinary depths of human mind. Stay curious and eat healthy, be in a right circle. Most importantly, work on yourself, focus on your productivity, focus on your mindfulness, and you're good to go. And today's video might be the stretched video of all times, and in this specific series itself, the videos would be stretched. So I guess this really helps you to bring a perspective on your mind and on your thought process itself, that how the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind delves into. I would share the link of each study in my bio, in the description of this video. So do check those studies and those research paper out, which will give you more insight about what conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind is. And also I'll make sure to ping all the experiments done by the researchers, so that you may get to know more about it. Till then, I think this is all for today. You take care, and we'll meet in the next video tomorrow. Till then, take care. Goodbye.